Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Council of One's Babylon 5 review. And thank you all for tuning in today. This is going to be a rough stream, but we are going to do our very best to bring you all a good stream, a good review for the season 1 opener of season 3 of Babylon 5, Matters of Honor. But before we get into that, for those of you that caught the news late last night or early this morning, the Babylon 5 community, we lost another one. And this isn't... You all know me. I'm generally the upbeat, positive one, and this was a hard cut. This was a deep cut for the B5 community as a whole. We lost the one who is. We lost Lynn. We lost Mara Furlong. And I think right now the Babylon 5 community as a whole is hurting. And I want to thank my fellow council members, Zod Rider, Fiona Wolf, Classic Comics, Mount Elysium, Blaze and Germs. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. To everybody that's in the chat, I know there's a lot of you in here. Thank you for tuning in today. We will get into the review proper here in a few minutes, but I think it only respectful and everything that we all have to have a moment of silence, a moment of remembrance for our friend who's gone beyond the veil, who's gone beyond the room. So that being said, I'm gonna pop this up here. We'll have our moment of silence, and then we will get started. She have peace in your presence. All right, guys. Well, why don't we take a few minutes and just go around the horn here, and we'll let Lays go first, and just get some thoughts on this wonderful actress and the impact that she had on all of us. Even though we never really got a chance to meet her, we only knew her really through her part in this series and the other parts that she has played throughout her career. And just so, Fiona, if you want to say a few words.
Well, besides having a very distinctive voice, I always thought that she pulled off a lot of the roles that she was in with a lot of grace, kind of showcasing that there's inherent strength to actual feminine action. So that's what she was. She was a very classy lady.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I go ahead and everything. If you want to say a few words.
Yeah, I found, was it the Len and Babylon 5 were something that gave me strength at really dark times in my life. And this one hit me hard this morning because it brought up all those old memories that they were there when my parents were dying.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just another loss this morning. I'm going, not another one. I was looking through stuff to do a tribute video, and in the episode Sleeping in the Light, or I believe it is the very last episode, there was a scene with Ivanova walking down the corridor, and every member of the cast, there was 6 members of the main cast there, and all of them have passed on. And that was a hard blow. It was like a slap in the face when I saw it.
Yeah.
One of the saddest things about this is that we have lost so many of our, of the cast of Babylon 5 that it's difficult to watch the show now. I mean, it's really fun going back and watching the episodes again for these reviews and stuff. But like, I think about it as a whole, it's just so sad, and there's something really, really eerie about like entire, you see entire scenes, you see entire actors, and it's like you'll watch it and it'll be like, wow, this person's gone, this person's gone, this person's gone. And now unfortunately we add Mira to that list, and it's just so gut-wrenching. That show was so impactful, and as a growing up as a sci-fi fan, and growing up and seeing all the things that happened as a result of this show, and all the things that it ushered in for the genre, and all the things it did, I always felt like every actor and actress on Babylon 5 was going to go on to have massively awesome careers. Like they were going to go on to do bigger and more things. And I always thought that there was going to be maybe even more down the line in the future. We were going to see more Babylon 5. There was going to be more different things going on, and it's just so sad to see what's kind of happened. And I'm wondering if all of these actors are actually somewhere in a better place together, looking down on everything, and looking down on what Babylon 5 has become, and realizing what an impact that they made on everybody's life. So as a whole, it's sad about what's happened. It's sad about Mira. It's sad about Delenn, but it just brings into focus how how vastly sad it all is. It makes me think of everyone else too, and not just her, because there's been so many people that we've lost from the cast of the show.
Yeah, very true. Classic, I think you were starting to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, like, Zod said, there's been so many people from the cast of Babylon 5 that have passed away since the show stopped. But just recently, just in the last month and a half or so now, we've had David Prowse die, Jeremy Bulloch die, Mira Fullen die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good omen for the year coming up. But one thing with Mira Furlan I always think of is, of course, she was originally from Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
And she emigrated after, the end of communism and the Berlin Wall came down and all that. And so, I don't know, I always kind of associate her with that, with how the world had changed there in the late 80s, early 90s. She always kind of symbolized that to me.
Yeah. And I think she was able to live out the American dream. She is able to come over here and have a fantastic career. I mean, she's done other stuff besides Babylon 5, obviously, but this is what she's known best for. And
that seems to be the case with the majority of the actors from Babylon 5, unfortunately, who passed away. It seems like the main thing that they're known for is Babylon 5, and it ultimately, it puts a really, really dark cloud over Babylon 5, in spite of how positive and uplifting the overall message of Babylon 5 is.
Yeah, I would. It's almost like a double-edged sword, really, and everything, because yes, it's very sad to watch this show now and realize that so many of these talented actors and actresses are gone. But at the same time, it's a monumental tribute to their abilities as actors and actresses, and everybody else that worked on the show. Writers, directors, producers, graphic designers, musical composers, and set designers, set constructors, everything across the board. They took a little bit of money and they created something that was truly marvelous. And that includes the man that was the head of it all and everything, J. Michael Straczynski. And, you know,
Oh my God! Did you see what he wrote? He wrote a beautiful.
Oh
wow.
I read it last night and everything because I was up kind of late, and I caught his post on Twitter, and I was like, couldn't have been said much better, truly.
Well, it in a way, it kind of was said a little bit better because he even linked it when Delenn was telling the station goodbye, like how Minbari don't have a word for goodbye.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. And, you know, growing up in the environment that I did with two strong women and everything, my mother and my grandmother raising me, to see a fictional character to portray those characteristics so well really drove it home for me that women can be just as strong and just as fierce and just as have just as much of an impact as a male character can. And you know, Delenn for me, yeah, everybody has their favorite. Everybody had their particular character that they loved and everything. And I loved Ivanova. She was by far one of my favorite characters. But Delenn had to go through so much hell dealing with bigotry and hatred from her own species, and yet find acceptance amongst those outside of her own race, outside of her own species, and to fight and claw and struggle and finally carve out a happy life just to have it kind of ripped away from her because of what happened with Sheridan. And I cannot help, you know, in a lot of ways, what my mother has had to go throughout her life since my father passed. I see that echoed in the later seasons of Babylon 5 when she comes to the realization that she only has a few precious years left with John. And that very much for me helped me to understand, because I was so young when my father passed. It helped me to understand what my mother had to go through. And I am, if nothing else or anything, I'm grateful for that portrayal. I'm grateful for Mira Furlan's talents as an actress to bring that kind of realism and help me to understand better what it means to mourn a spouse. Because up until that point, I had no reference, because until just a few years ago, I hadn't been married. And now I was able to better understand what my mom has gone through for so many years. Because yeah, you do eventually, the hurt does fade, but at the same time the hurt does linger. And I can only imagine for Delenn, particularly when you see her years and years into the future in the deconstruction of Falling Stars, and you see her as an old woman leaning on a staff, and she comes back to defend her late husband. And that, for me, I think is one of my favorite scenes of Delenn and everything.
I have to agree. That scene is so powerful. I can't wait till we get to that episode.
Yeah, same here. Deconstruction of Falling Stars. That'll be season 4, or the end of season 4. So,
Ambassador, do you mind if I read the last thing Mira put out on Twitter?
By all means, Elysium, I yield the floor. It is yours.
She put this out a few days ago. Said, "I look at the stars. Is it a clear night and the Milky Way seems so near? That's where I'll be going soon. We are all star stuff. I suddenly remembered Ellen's line from Joe's script. Not a bad prospect. I am not afraid. In the meantime, let me close my eyes and sense the beauty around me, and take that breath under the dark sky full of stars. Breathe in, breathe out. That's all. That was the last thing she posted on Twitter a few days ago.
Wow. Beautiful.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you, Elysium, for sharing that. Truly. Now, let me hold on. I gotta get back over. Okay, here we go. Yeah, and I know a lot of you have been sharing your thoughts in the chat, and thank you all for being here today. And I'm sorry I haven't shout out to all of you, but Lord KOJ, MB Geek, Excelsior UK, BR31, I know you've been in here. I imagine there's many more who have been in here. Thank Lewis X Sparrow. Thank you for tuning in today. And I hope that maybe in some way this stream or anything will help us all and everything to start to, in our own way, mourn and grieve this wonderfully talented actress who has had an impact on all our lives in either profound or subtle ways. So, but that being said, we are going to soldier on. We are going to carry on as I think she would want us to, even though she probably never knew any of us, obviously. And we're going to get into season 3 of Babylon 5, and we kick it off with Matters of Honor. So, this is
everyone's favorite ranger.
Yes, we get introduced to everyone's favorite ranger. And I'll pop this comment up here, and then we'll get into
he makes one hell of an entrance.
Yes, he does. I'll just pop BR31's comment up here. You do not wish to know anything. You wish only to speak. Well said.
Perfect line. Yes.
Yes. And I think that line has a lot of res, especially today, but we won't get into that here. So, but yeah, they kick off. Well, to quote the movie I'm going to be reviewing later, doing a watch party for later tonight. Let's start this party off with a bang, and they start off season 3 with a bang. And we get introduced to everybody's favorite ranger, Marcus Cole. Gotta love Marcus. One of my all-time favorite characters, besides the one we just spent some time talking about. So there's a lot to unpack here. So guys, I yield the floor. Let's dive in. Where do you want to begin?
Yeah, Marcus, honestly, I think he was always meant to be set up kind of like the fish out of water in terms of relating to the other cast initially. So that's why his chart to Ivanova later was absolutely hilarious. It's like, where do you fit in all this? Like, oh, well, here's you, Ivanova, at the center of everything. So yeah, I do enjoy that aspect, and you got to see things from the Ranger level fairly often from his point of view.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing, the interesting thing about Marcus and the interesting thing about this episode is we're starting to see the walls kind of start to close in on everybody, and we also start to see the further repercussions of Londo's choices, because in this episode he tells Mr. Morden to go take a hike in no uncertain terms, but there's always a string attached, isn't there?
Or with Morden, there's always 5,000 different strings.
You know what I loved about that scene when he conveys his his glee to Morden about severing their relationship. It's almost like he had no clue what the repercussions were going to be. It was like he thought it was going to be that easy just to just to be like, okay, I got what I wanted, beat it. It's just so sort of a. I mean, I don't know if it was just wishful thinking on Londo's part, or if he was doing that to make himself feel better, or it just felt good to say that to Mr. Morden. But either way, I just felt like that's something interesting. Like what could he do? Like the repercussions are going to be astronomical here, but in the context of the scene, I felt like Londo really. I felt like that was a good Londo moment.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Maybe it could be related to what the lady told him about the prophecy. Like, when, like, if you're still on this path, you have these chances. Maybe he thought by doing this, he's like, okay, I'm finally off the path of self-destruction.
Right.
Whee!
I agree. Like you're finally free of this now. You separate yourself. You do it in kind of what you feel to be a definitive way, and you try to move on.
Yeah, and this is Londo says it thus. It says it very poignantly. My people have a manifest destiny upon us. We are branching out now, and we are going to do things our way, and we simply want you and your associates to go away. And Born's like, okay, sure, we'll go away, but we're going to carve up the galaxy first.
Yep. Just kind of like the salesman with like, yes. Oh, pray I don't alter the deal anymore.
It's like Morden is the perfect character for this particular. Like, he's so perfectly cast, so perfectly placed in that. I mean, it's like every time you see him on screen, he should make your skin crawl, and that's the whole idea of it. He has such an elegance about his sleaziness that it just makes it all so perfect. And when you talk about and I remember the inspiration for Morden was Rod Serling, and I think that couldn't be more that couldn't be more true, because it's just like you see it. That's what I'm thinking of, and it's like the idea of Morden and the shadows going and basically carving up the galaxy, and I think it's funny because to me, I always believed that the shadows, at least at that point, that the shadows would turn on the Centauri, that there would be no way that they would like stick to any kind of deals or pacts or treaties. So that scene to me always seemed a little naive on the part of Londo.
Well, but here's the thing: Morden even reveals to Londo before he leaves his quarters. I'm going to be working with Lord Rifa. You don't want to work with me, but there's other people in your own government that
that in and of itself is scarier than anything. That should have at that moment, frightened Londo on a level that he's never been frightened before, because he knows how crazy Lord Rifa is.
And more importantly, it shows that he's expendable.
Yeah, very much. The devil will always find another soul to steal, and let's be candid here. Morden is the devil.
Indeed.
Well, if you even read The Shadows Within, the little expanded book that showcases what happened with Sheridan's wife, the Morden, even before he got employed by the Shadows, he was a man that was in a crisis of faith and everything else even before that. So he was the perfect kind of putty to use for them to sell the Shadow Gospel anyway. It's some scary stuff, man.
That's all it needed, but that's all that was needed there. You just have to find the right tortured soul to bring in at the right time that can be coerced in the right way, and then there you go. The devil has his due.
Yep, and Morden had plenty of chinks in his armor even before that whole entire Icarus and everything else set off for its bon voyage. Oh boy.
He seems to parallel Londo in many ways. Londo has chinks in his armor.
Indeed.
Yes.
I was just thinking that I think Londo took some of Veer's words to heart that some things come at too high a price. He knew that he was savvy enough to know the shadows were dangerous. I mean, they even say, Morden says to him, "You and I know treaties are just paper, they're meaningless." Londo's well enough. And he does, we know, he immediately puts things in place to take Rifa out of the equation. I know we won't see that for a couple of episodes, but he's that in play already. So I don't think Londo was as duped as he was, but he did know what he was dealing with, but had to pretend strength when dealing with Morden. And he did about as well as he could, to give him his due.
Yeah, very true. Well, and the other interesting thing about this episode is this does have a plot thread from the season 2 finale with a certain hotshot pilot that got in over his head because we have a rep from EarthGov and everything from the Department of Intelligence, I think it is, or something like that, Mr. Dowie. And I will say I did like this actor. I did like the character of Dowie and everything.
Yeah.
He didn't come off as quite as slimy or sleazy as some of the other characters we meet and everything.
No. He seemed more like the useful guy just fishing for information, but was none the wiser. But I found it funny when Delin was like, "No, sir, I have not seen that kind of ship before." Meanwhile, well, in our ancient text they described it, but I've never actually seen one for real.
I found that fascinating how they all seem to have some sort of representation of what those ships were. That just goes to show you, and adds credence to the idea of just how ancient the shadows are.
Well, I mean, Delin's little monologue that she gives and everything states that the shadows were ancient even when the other ancients were young, and that's saying something. I mean, when you've got a race that's even older than, say, the Vorlons or the Walkers of Sigma 957 or any of the other first one races, it gives you scale, it gives you scope, it gives you a sense of the risk of what's going on here.
Absolutely.
And even Lorien does mention at one point, like, yes, his race started off where they're immortal, but eventually through each subsequent cycle, mortality was entered into the universe, and other races began to live longer in some cases, but eventually they died. So unlike Lorien, not all of them were immortals.
Exactly. Well, and I will say we also get introduced to another little piece of, we get introduced to, I think, everybody's favorite ship, the White Star.
Yes.
I still remember that conversation in season 5.
That ship is still beautiful to today.
Those maintenance workers, it looks like a plucked chicken. No, it doesn't. It's beautiful.
I'm sorry. I love the design of that ship.
Nice.
I do. I love the design of that. I will always the White Star will be one of my all-time favorites.
I mean, who would not want to travel around in that ship? I mean, come on.
Seriously.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even if Mac and Bo were right, a plucked chicken roasted on the table looks good.
Especially when you're hungry.
Exactly.
Yes. Well,
and a lot of the ships in Babylon 5 have very distinct designs, so I enjoyed most of the designs.
Well, let's be candid here. The Vorlon ships, they're badass. Absolutely, positively badass. Love them to death. Well, will always be. Well, I mean, granted, we don't see very many First One vessels in the series and everything, and I think that's what's great about it. You don't see them very much, and that's what keeps the intrigue and the interest and kind of the intrigue about them and everything. The mystique. That's the word I was looking for. But this is a good example of introducing plot elements that progress the story, not just introducing them for the hell of it. They need a ship like this. they have a very dangerous mission. And, well, Marcus is like, come with me. We got a new toy for y'all to play with.
It's also kind of an interesting coincidence that, of course, in the third season, they get this new powerful experimental ship. And on Deep Space Nine,
Yep.
third season,
Yep.
they got this new powerful experimental ship.
Yep.
Yeah, but that powerful experimental ship, it couldn't do anything to the White Star. That's for sure.
Please, you put the White Star in the Defiant dogfight.
Yeah, the
And
White
you-
Star's maneuverability would make it toast.
Yes.
Not to mention the Vorlon air beam weapon and everything on the front end of the sucker. Because unless I'm mistaken, the beam weapon on the front end is Vorlon tech, and the cannons on either side are like Minbari tech.
Yeah, but it's also the skin is partially Vorlon, so
Yeah.
it'll help self-repair parts of the ship, provided it still has power. So, self-repairing ship versus something where it's like, send the engineering crew.
Yes,
It
and
has
when
a
an
bit of
energy
armor.
weapon. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Elysium. Go
I
ahead.
was saying the armor on the White Star is, if you fire an energy weapon at it, that adds to the structural integrity. So basically, the Defiant would be strengthening rather than cutting holes in it.
Yeah. Well, and Delenn is trying to tell John, because they're looking at the footage or anything that Ndawi brought with him from Kefir's camera. Once these things lock onto you, they don't miss, and you're dead. Well, he just proved her wrong. And okay, I will say it. I love the joke. Have you ever heard the bonehead maneuver? No offense. None taken.
And what's kind of funny with that is, some of Sheridan's setup eventually influences Delenn to try more. Wait, open a jump gate in atmosphere? It's like, yes, let's do it.
Yeah, why not?
Eventually.
It can work.
I think I heard it mentioned that why didn't they just operate this themselves? And it was pointed out they needed someone like Sheridan who could think outside the box, use a jump gate, opening at a jump point inside a jump gate to destroy the shadow ship.
Yep.
That none of them would have attempted it.
Well,
Had they faced...
I'm
Sorry.
sorry. I was going to say, I think they just needed someone with military experience because they were all
Yes.
religious cast.
Well, not to mention, they need somebody with a big brass pair. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
Go ahead, Elysium. No, Elysium, go ahead. It's all right.
Oh, sorry. I was about to say someone who wouldn't use the jump engines immediately and give away some secret about the ship, that
Yep.
he went to the jump point to lure them in.
Yep. Well, it kind of goes back around even to this episode where, Marcus needed that Drazi ship to help launch him past a certain point. So, yeah, you expect that with different sized ships to be able to do certain things or even like generate certain things. So, man, that poor Drazi, but he did his job well. He got the Rescue Ranger to Babylon 5.
Vienna.
Yeah, and in that, I was going to say, in that opening scene, I don't remember where I read it or heard it, but Straczynski, he's a fan of Blake 7. And I believe the Drazi ship, those Drazi Sunhawks, I think that's what they're called. They're kind of modeled after the Liberator, which is it's used on Blake 7.
So, well, Excelsior UK and everything brings up an interesting point here. I'll pop his up here. It's smart tactics, but had the Shadows not been curious, it might have gotten away. Might have gotten another way. So yeah, I think I know what you're trying to say, Excelsior.
Just to mention though, probably my absolute favorite part of this episode was Dr. Franklin was like, granted, I'm in Medlam all the time, and granted, I'm busy with other things, but would somebody please tell me what's going on with these shadows?
Yes. Okay. And another good one. When Garibaldi is the only one left there, and he's talking with Indawi, and he's like, I don't tell myself anything that I don't need to know. That way, I don't risk laying any information out that other people don't need to know either. And that is like the most convoluted thing, but at the same time, funny as hell thing. And I can only imagine how many takes it may have had to do with Jerry Doyle and the actor who played Indawi to get that all down right the first time. Oh, Fiona, dang it. Yeah, we'll get to that scene in a few minutes and everything, the conversation between Costner. Because that is kind of my favorite quote. It's my tagline and everything from my channel. I have always been here. I don't know what it is about that phrase, but
Kosh is a cat. Meow. I've always been here. You good. I confuse people. Meow.
And yeah, at least Excelsior, thank you. And Dally was in Space Above and Beyond. I do remember that show vaguely, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. So, and I think I do remember seeing the actor who played Indawi and everything in it. So, but of course, they go on their mission. They destroy they get the Rangers out. And Fiona, did you really have to call Marcus a rescue ranger like Chip and Dale?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Did you have to go there? I'm serious. Why did you go there? You didn't have to go there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a we know there's a there, but you didn't have to go there.
What? All good things from my childhood get mentioned. All good things.
Now I'm talking like a Vorlon. I'm sorry. We start off the stream on such a down note. Now I'm laughing. I feel kind of guilty, but I guess it's just normal. So anyway.
No, usually even through sad things, the best medicine is laughter.
Yes, yeah, I'll agree. I will wholeheartedly agree. But of course, and then of course they get back and they very conveniently cook up a reason why they were gone. Well, there was a Minbari cruiser a Minbari transport that was transporting diplomatic papers, and it got
nothing but lies.
lies.
Yeah, yes, we have to defend Delenn's honor. We can't mention what was on the transport. Minbari honor. They take that so seriously that they go over to war in it.
Yes, they do. And yes, Bureau 31, I will say it. Marcus Cole is Babylon 5's Batman.
Yeah.
And Dr. Franklin is his Robin. Yes, I went there. I don't care. Excelsior UK, you're killing me here. Stop it. Oh, fun fact.
But not that Chippendale. The actual wholesome Chippendale.
Fiona?
Florida woman!
Leave it to a chick. Let me bring up male strippers.
In a rare moment.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, good grief. What depths have we sunk to? We started off so dignified. Now Fiona's resorted to talking about male strippers.
Oh, wow.
Although sometimes it does make me wonder. It's like, I guess Londo would be in the Red Lake districts here on Earth if he was actually walking around. It's like, what Drock? No, I want to go to Chinatown or something, or somewhere that has a lot of dancers. Yes. Wait, I didn't request this kind of dancers. No. Where's the ladies? Oh no, I walked into the wrong joint. Oh. Oh no, but well, I also was talking about the chickmunks too. Oh dear.
I guess I guess you would say that's a different show. I don't
know. All right. Getting back on track here. Vienna mutes herself.
Well, I had to take a drink. I have my coffee, my iced coffee, and my regular pot of coffee.
And your Irish coffee.
Yee!
Because your name is Fiona. Fiona is an Irish name. Right, Elysium? You would know.
I'm a quarter Irish due to mom's side of the family. Wee!
Fianna were a bunch of warrior priests from ancient Irish history.
Oh, good God. Why is the stream going? What have I done?
Yeah.
We are in one of Garibaldi's hallucinations. Purple wombats dancing in a bathtub.
Wait, we're already to Grey 17 is missing? Quickly, somebody tell Naroon. He has to beat up Marcus again. Oh, that poor man took so many.
Can we just say Marcus is an absolute badass. He is suffering from dehydration, oxygen deprivation, extreme exhaustion, getting shot at by Mimbari, Centauri blockade mines, and he gets up like a complete and total badass and walks out of med lab.
Yeah, even after Franklin was like, "No, he's not getting up for hours." Yeah, you'd think that.
And Bureau 31, Lore Runner, Marcus is Batman. Yes, he is. And then, of course, Lanier and Delenn and Marcus get into a bar fight, or a sort of bar fight with a bunch of scumbags down below, and we see Delenn. Thank you, Mira, for kicking some scumbag ass with a Mimbari fighting staff. And can I just say, besides a lightsaber, that is one mythic or sci-fi weapon I would absolutely love to have.
Honestly, if I had it, I'd do pretty much the same as Marcus does with the in a couple of episodes. Look down that end and give it a shake.
That, and you could also see
how about Marcus's best line in all of Babylon 5, "Wakey, wakey."
Oh lordy! Although, looking at this whole bar scene, though, you could tell, like, oh, Lanier protect Delenn. Like, don't worry, lady, it's not alcoholic at all. Verified. I sipped it myself. Oh man, Lanier, the faithful man by her side the whole time. But oh no, it's gonna become unrequited. Oh,
I was just thinking.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for a show that's 20 years old.
Yay!
Although, fun fact, if for those of you that have HBO Max, if you have access, Babylon 5 is going to be added to the platform, I think, next week. So, in the immortal words of a certain British comedy troupe, there was indeed much rejoicing. Yay!
Although I do personally recommend actually getting the season sets, because the commentaries that are on them are pretty fun.
Yes, I would agree.
And those DVD sets are worth it for Jerry Doyle's commentaries alone.
Oh, I can imagine.
He's hilarious. It's a laugh a minute.
Yeah, you team him up with anybody and he'll get them all cracking. Or if Claudia Christian's talking with Patricia Tallman, God, those two.
Oh, man. And can I just say, Claudia Christian and Patricia Tallman, they have aged nicely. Hubba hubba. Just saying. Okay. I'm going to stop being a scum-sucking sexist pig.
Oh my goodness, they're using their best assets. There you go. Because you can't tell me that Lita didn't kind of connive her way out of certain kind of situations and then basically drop kick people afterwards because telepath.
Yes.
Or
yeah, Excelsior UK, as am I. I got the whole set with the movies and the season 1 of Crusade, the whole shooting match. And I will never, ever, ever, ever unless I'm like destitute, I will never sell them. Just like Buffy and Angel, I will never sell those.
No, well, even if you tried to sell them, they're not worth that much right now, so it wouldn't really be worth. It really wouldn't be worth it to you to sell them.
Heresy.
I'm serious. They're not. They're still going for relatively reasonable prices online. So it's kind of like you could, if you needed an extra set.
Oh, heretic.
I think that might change a few years down the road, because I think streaming services are going to start. They're going to start raising their prices as the production companies, as they stop producing DVDs in order to force you to buy the streaming service.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're going to
That's
start raising their prices up, because what are you going to do? And then I think you'll see used DVDs and that sort of thing going for more money.
And Blu-rays, yeah.
I think I heard a rumor that Babylon 5 is being converted to Blu-ray at some point, but
it's
I
being
don't think it's
remastered. I know that much.
if they're spending the money to remaster it, they'll put it on Blu-ray remastered.
Probably.
Because it'll be most cost effective if they're going to do that. They can get the most out of it that way. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think classic. I think physical media still has a strong market. It's not dead yet. But I mean, it probably won't take long at this point for the streaming services to eventually. We got to remember that there's still a lot of places where people don't have like the greatest internet in the world.
Yeah.
So streaming services still have, a ways to go before they're tapped into everywhere on that level to where physical media will be irrelevant. But at this point, I don't know. I still love physical media.
As do I.
Well, I do too. That's why I've been buying up DVDs over the last
Yeah.
trying to stock up, because I'd rather do that than let them be on the hook with these streaming services. But take The Mandalorian. Has The Mandalorian's first season been put out on DVD?
I don't think it has. I don't think it has. Not yet. It has unofficially, but I don't think it has
And it's not
officially.
going to, because they want you to get the streaming service. And they're going to start doing that with everything.
Yeah.
Well, they can't take my pretty leather-bound copies of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit away from me.
Nope.
They can't take it.
Oh, the irony is I had all of those, the leather-bound ones, and I sold them and ended up getting the digital extended editions on my Vudu account. And I keep going in there with all the digital movies. I go in there and I literally count to make sure that I'm not missing any movies, because sometimes digital movies have a tendency to disappear. So.
Oh yeah, if they lose like the whatever the streaming rights are,
Yeah,
whichever service it is, yeah, it's like pop, it's gone.
Yep. Well,
And,
go ahead, Classic.
That's what I was going to say. So Excelsior UK saying, he signed up for Disney and he got 2 months free. Now there was this article, I don't know if it was in the Times or not, like I think it was yesterday or day before, about how much turnover these streaming services have, because that's what people do. They sign up for, a month or so, whatever. And then when they've seen what they want, a lot of them just drop it. I think there was something like that, like streaming services in the last year have lost like 60% of the people that signed up. Now
that's what caused YouTube. That's what caused YouTube Red to go into panic mode, because everybody signed up for YouTube Red for Cobra Kai, and then when they got done binge watching Cobra Kai, they dropped the streaming service.
And basically, the predictions that we're making in this article is they're going to start going to a model more like the cable services did, where they're going to lock you into a contract. Where you can't just sign up for a month and then drop it. And they're going to lock you into a contract for, a year.
That's why they need to set you up with deals like, for example, like HBO Max had that initial deal before they launched, where it was $11.99 for a year. It was kind of like a contract. You pay $11.99 for and then it's gonna go up the next year, but you're locked into that $11.99 deal. But that's what they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to give out like really good, sweet deals at the beginning if they want people to be invested in that way to keep going. Like you said, but like cable companies, where you're gonna be locked in and you'll have an opportunity to, get out eventually, but it's gonna be a lot longer than a month.
Yeah, I would have to agree wholeheartedly. I did want to bring up, we did really have a chance to talk about that scene between Kosh and Sheridan and everything. Um, I will say this is we got kind of a nice balance between Kosh that we saw him last time and now that we've seen him and everything. I do like the comedic back and forth between Kosh and Sheridan because it's unintentional humor. And I thought honestly that was a very nice thing and everything because let's be honest, Kosh's dialogue does lend itself to comedy in a manner of speaking. A lot of it is very heavy, very serious, yes. But that interplay, he's like, because it was necessary. And he's like, just the kind of answer I would come to expect from a Vorlon. Cryptic and doesn't answer anything I had to say. Kosh is like, good. He's like, I really hate when you do that. I know.
Yes. Kosh is like the everlasting Tibetan monk that's constantly giving you riddles, and it's like, did you learn anything new today? Oh no!
Yes.
Only mass confusion. Good.
I have a headache the size of Texas. Good. No, it's not good. But I do find it intriguing that the being as powerful as Kosh gets overexerted by being seen by too many people. So let's toss that thing around for a few minutes and see if we can figure out what exactly is going on. Is he being genuine, or do you think he's kind of, I want to stay in my street for a while and not be seen by anyone because, well, too many people saw me?
No, so I think he's playing it up. Yeah, he's fully hamming it up because he wanted to maintain super secret Vorlon mystique.
Yeah, I think it's a strain because he's having to put up this, this false image and this sort of illusion for all these people. I think that's what the strain is.
Elysium, Zod, what y'all think? You think he's being real, or you think he's kind of playing it up?
I think he's playing I've got a headache in my tummy sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's not really sick at all.
Right. Exactly.
It might be a little bit of both. I kind of tried to play it down the middle. It might have been a strain for him, but at the same time, I can't remember how long it's been and everything. What did Sheridan say? It's been like what, a couple of weeks since the events of season 2 happened at the end of season 2. Vienna, what? Go ahead, guys.
Oh wow!
If my avatar is hanging its head in shame, oh my God. I'm thinking,
go ahead. Sorry,
no, go ahead. When you consider the later on in the series when Ulkesh and Kosh are fighting, the amount of energy they expend will be far greater than basically broadcasting an image over Wi-Fi, which is all Kosh was doing. So I don't think Kosh was strained one bit.
Yep. I mean, and plus that had a bit of Lorien in it too. So, and Lorien was expanding a lot of energy to basically keep like res heal Sheridan. Here we go.
But Excelsior UK brings up a good point. If the false image is hard coded into onlookers, it wouldn't be a strain, would it? It's on the other hand, he's broadcasting that involuntarily like mirages. So, yeah, it may not have been a strain for him on one point, but it might have been a strain for him on another. So, because we know obviously that Vorlons are very highly telepathic beings, but we don't know how difficult it is per se for maybe them to use their telepathic abilities. I mean, we get the impression that obviously there are beings made of energy. They can split themselves off and put themselves in other people, as we'll see in a couple episodes when everybody's favorite telepath returns. And we know that they can manipulate to a degree the thoughts of others. So, or at least put their thoughts into, they can project into the minds of others, because we've seen that on a couple of occasions already in the first couple of seasons. So, and yeah, Excelsior brings up another point. It's also how much oof did he take to interface with Sheridan physically to bring him down? Yeah, that's actually a good point, because for a being that's made up of entirely of energy, how difficult is it to manifest a physical construct to interact with the physical world, in particular to save another life? So,
Plus, I wouldn't, since I've been writing a lot of my own stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if they hand waved a little bit of this, so that way it would let the viewer or reader come up with their own ideas rather than explaining every little cosmic mystery.
Let people 20 years down the road, like myself and everything, get online and discuss the stuff with other people who are interested. So,
yep. Woo. Whoosh.
Anyway. Well, guys and gals, anything else on this episode that we haven't hit upon that you want to kind of dig into?
Well, the one thing I really like the fact that is Sheridan did end up using the Markav gates to basically shut people down from looting. Because I don't like grave robbers either. They can go take a giant flying leap like a lemming.
Yes, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. So, absolutely, positively agree. So,
I think the ending, actually, just mentioning that where Morden meets Cyclops was an interesting little...
yeah, with the one government official and everything, and they're going over the records, and
we
almost
get our first official proof that Earth is working with the Shadows, and so is Psychor.
And that the Shadows wanted to stay quiet, keep hidden, and yet the Psychor were saying, no, we can use this. Let's make it public, and we can get an even greater grip on power without expending anything by using that one image.
Yeah, that's true. Because think about it. That's a photo of a shadow vessel nuking or destroying a Star Fury, which is no small thing, really. I mean, well, relatively speaking, to them, it's nothing. Nuking a Star Fury is like us popping a bag of microwave popcorn.
I think actually that I'm just remembering back that poor guy Kiefer, the way he died, that was the most graphic death in Babylon 5. They basically showed him melting in the cockpit just to show there is no way back.
They did that because they hated him. They did that because they hated him. That's why they wanted to make sure he had the most graphic death ever.
kind of a message to the higher ups, like, you ever force us to do force a non-organic character into our series, this is what will happen to them. We will massacre them violently. So don't do it.
I was about to say, no wonder Kiefer went looking for the Shadows. It was probably safer than facing JMS.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
So one thing I was...
Sorry, Classic.
I was going to say, one thing I was wondering about, is this the first episode where Jakar's book is actually referred to as the Book of Jaquan?
No, he's referred to it as the Book of Jaquan before.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. And, the crazy thing is, I think Indawi, to a certain level, does believe Jakar, but at the same time, I think maybe he is somewhat skeptical, which can be expected. So, anyway.
Just to mention one more thing that I like the throughout Babylon 5, there is a reference to Arthurian legend, and Sheridan sets up basically the Council of Light in the manner of the Round Table. Everyone's open. I am not, and I really like that he wasn't trying to be dictator. He was trying to, like we'll see in a couple of halfway through the season, David O'Macintyre, the guy who believed he was King Arthur.
Yes.
And he would take that to the Narn, the idea of the round table.
Yeah. And to the chat, Devin Walker, welcome. Thank you for being here. Don't think I've seen you in my chat before, so glad you're tuning in. Appreciate it. So, well, this episode had a lot to unpack in it, and great discussion, guys. I know we kind of, like I said, started on a down note, but I think it was warranted. It was necessary. So, yeah, Excelsior UK, the Narns already have circles, so yeah, it all works. And I have to ask the question: did Mira Furlan kind of go, I have to do the recitation from back in season 2 from Zaha Doom talking about the first ones? And they're like, no, you only have to do a few lines of it. And she's probably like, oh, thank you, Janice. She's like, because
yes,
let's be honest,
Pell's back.
Because let's be honest, that is a very lengthy piece of monologue, almost as technically difficult to try and get through as maybe what Princess Leia said in Empire Strikes Back, because I remember listening to the audio commentary and Carrie Fisher was on it and she's like, I'm talking technobabble here, George. I am literally talking technobabble. I have no idea what I'm really saying, but I'm saying it regardless. And I mini exposition, yes, Excelsior. So. Oh.
Yeah. What's fun about reading so many pulp books is they do mini exposition, but within a few lines, and they'll just put it here and there. It's like, yay!
Kind of like what I'm doing with my fan fiction: mini exposition, and then sometimes lots of exposition, because sometimes it's needed. Being Abrams and Johnson couldn't do it. Yes, I said it, and I don't care. I'm doing what they couldn't do. World building. Sorry. Okay. Getting off my soapbox. Well, folks, I think we're going to wrap up here, but I want to thank you all for tuning in today. And thank you all for, I hope you all enjoyed the discussion. The little tribute that we did for our friend who's gone beyond the rim and everything. Mira Furlan, may she rest in peace, and may the Lord Almighty comfort those that she has left behind. I say that with all sincerity. Guys and gals, before we close out and everything, if you got anything you want to plug for your channels or anything, I yield the floor. Go for it.
Well, Florida Woman's going to survive 2021 by writing more superhero space opera. Whee! So that's my big thing. I'll link it here in a moment.
You nerd.
Da, 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 da.
All right. Well, my channel is Classic Comics. I review comics, obviously, and also genre, film, and TV shows. I actually posted a review of the latest episode of The Expanse earlier today, and I should have a review of the latest issue of Batman up probably later this evening. Please come by my channel and check that out.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm going to come by your channel and check it out. You can find me on the Zod Rider show on Tuesday nights on my YouTube channel at Zod Rider, and you can find me on Twitter at Zod Rider.
Yeah. Elysian, what about you? You still working on your projects, or you got anything coming up soon?
I just released during the week the best recurring characters on Babylon 5.
Oh, good.
I am working. I have another video ready to go. The working title is Art of Forgiveness. It's looking at the painting, The Men of the South, and comparing one character there to the character Sniper from later on this season. And also working on the best supporting character in Babylon 5. I have a Delenn tribute half finished. I was just doing this before the stream.
Yeah.
And I have 2 other videos on the go. Gollum is not the villain, and a Matrix Theory video. So, pretty busy.
Yeah. And hey, to everybody that's in the chat right now, if you have not subscribed to these channels, to my fellow council members, go do so. They are all worth your time. Very much so. As for me, I'll be back later this evening at 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing another Ambassadors Retro Theater watch party, and we're going to jump back into the 90s and everything, and we're going to watch, I think by far one of my favorite Batman films, Batman Forever. And I've got several people that are already going to be joining me, and I've still got a few spots open. So if anybody wants to be a part of that stream, DM me here on Twitter or over on Facebook if you follow me there, or wherever else I am on social media. So, and then of course next week, I'll be back and everything with. I'll be back on Tuesday afternoon with Classic Comics, The Truth 31, and Gucci Hepcat and everything. We'll be continuing our review of Batman the Animated Series, and I'm gonna jump back on this crazy train once again. I am going to try and do a review for the latest episode of WandaVision. I did watch it today, and I want to give you all my thoughts on that. I also am working on my fan fiction, working on the script for that and everything. I am going to do a proper. I know I've mentioned it on a couple of streams, but I want to do a stream dedicated to it specifically and everything, talking about the project, where it started, where it's going, and getting the word out. So be on the lookout for that. So, but as always, thank you all for tuning in today. I hope you all enjoyed the discussion. If you catch us on the replay, if you are a fan of Babylon 5, I hope you enjoyed the discussion. Make sure you smash that like button. Share it out with all your sci-fi friends. And if you come across this video and you have not subscribed to myself or to my friends here, be sure and do so. And support positive content on YouTube and online. So that all being said, folks, I will see you later this evening, and I'll see you, my friends here, on the flip side. And until next time, these are the Ambassadors, signing off.
I have always been